Hello, this is Geotech, and today I'm going to be taking a look at ZorinOS 16, which has been officially released. So first I'm going to be going through this little tour guide just so you can get a good idea of what's new. Here it's just giving you a little guide on how to open the start menu. Now the cool thing here, and something that's been famous on Zorin especially, is a layout chooser or launch your own look and feel. With this core version, you get a few options, but if you upgrade to the Zorin Pro, you can unlock more options here. Right now, you get like a standard Windows 10-like experience. The second option is more of a Windows XP-like experience. This looks a little bit more like something that Deepin would offer, although even this looks a little bit Windows 11-esque. And I actually mentioned that Windows 11 copied this from Deepin. And I don't necessarily mean that as a bad thing. Every OS borrows from each other. And so then here we have a sort of a more GNOME 3-like environment. While I do love this layout chooser, it really should have some names associated with each layout. I'm not sure how I feel about the additional layouts being upgradable, especially with other distros offering more options like Manjaro's layout chooser. But if you want to support the team, you can purchase Zorin Pro. If we take a look at their theme, nothing much has changed here other than that you can change the accent color. So it's nice that they give you options here. Of course, they have their dark mode. And the one thing I still don't like about it is that it puts a filter, like a red filter or a purple filter. And so I usually leave it in blue because it kind of seems like it has less of a filter, but you can also do gray, and this looks pretty decent as well. For now, I'm just going to leave it at blue here. You can change the title bar buttons left, right, if you want to go left like Mac OS. You can enable animations or disable, depending on how powerful your hardware is, I guess. And then there's jelly mode, which is always fun. So by default, you kind of move the window around pretty normally. But if you enable jelly mode, you get this nice sort of animation here, which makes it look fun, and it's kind of nice to show off to friends that are still trapped on Windows or Mac. You can choose between enabling or disabling icons on the desktop, which is nice. And of course, you can change the font size. But yeah, this is the traditional zoom appearance. I wish more distros had this layout chooser, although a lot of distros are starting to have it. You know, you've got Manjaro layout, pretty much I think copied directly from Zorin appearance. You have Deepin with it. You have Ubuntu Budgie. Even Pop OS to some degree is giving you some freedom with moving and shaping your layout. I'm gonna go and hit next now. And of course, speed may be limited in a virtual machine. Yep, I am using a virtual machine, so don't make much of the speed here because I am going through a virtual machine, and naturally it's gonna be a lot slower. You can connect your online accounts, which is something that usually comes with GNOME. I think it's borrowed from GNOME here. Cool thing is that you can link your phone with Zorin Connect, and they've actually made a lot of improvements to the app. The app looks a lot more modern, and so if you want to share files securely with your laptop or computer and phone, this lets you easily do that. Of course, you can launch the Software Center, which is based on the GNOME Software Center, so you can download some more apps and go shopping here. I'll take a deeper look at the store in a bit here. One cool thing here is that they're offering the choice between an Office suite. If you don't really use or work with Word files or work with Microsoft files, you might be better sticking off with the LibreOffice option. But if you really do need it to be more compatible with Microsoft Office, then maybe you could install only Office and that might work better for you. I'm glad that they installed the free and open source option by default and are opting to install this other version. I think that's a good approach there. And all right, we are ready to launch here. I've opened up NeoFetch here to give you an idea of what you're working with this new version of Zorin. Looks like you've got the kernel 5.11. It's obviously using the GNOME desktop environment, running Mutter, although this doesn't give you too much of an idea of what you're working with. So let me load GLX info here so you can get an idea of what Mesa driver we have, which is 21.0.3. So not bad. One new feature that Zorin introduced here in Zorin 16 is that now Flatpaks and Snaps are available in the same app store. So go into the GNOME Thor here. Let's say you search Telegram and you go to Telegram desktop. You have the option of installing either a FlatHub or a regular Zorin package. And I do like this feature, especially that it lets you choose the source. PopOS does this very well already, but it seems that with Zorin, it's not quite consistent yet. So like, let's say you type in Spotify, you'll notice two different versions of Spotify. One of them is a FlatHub. So if you scroll down, you see the flathub.org there. But then this one is a Snap, and you get different options for Snap. And so this might confuse users more so than help, because then they won't know which one is legit if this one's like a fake one. So that's something that could use some improvement there. But overall, I do like the idea that you have many options to install when it comes to which app package you support. And the one other new interesting thing they introduced is they released their own sound recorder app. So if I hit record here, greetings Earthlings, and then hit the checkbox to save and play this back here. Greetings Earthlings. I mean, it's a very simple app, but it's cool that they're kind of making their own apps now because it's simple and very well designed here. If we take a look at their blog posts, they've also have made improvements to touchpad gestures. So now if you're using the laptop, you can use the touchpad to better navigate around, which is really an update to GNOME itself. And that's why another distro like Elementary OS 6 also has a very similar update here. But overall, I like that they've also included it here. One other interesting thing is that they're now somewhat sideloading Windows apps, or at least giving users a better experience, especially when it comes to them downloading an exe file. Now Zorin's going to try to better guide them to the right direction. So it's like if they try to install Zoom from an exe file, they're going to be told, hey, there actually is a Zoom file in the App Store that's native to Linux, and they're just going to install that. Or if they want to set up Overwatch, they're going to say, hey, Overwatch, you can play it through Lutris. That's an option. So this is really good, and I feel like this could be improved upon even more, and it'll make life easier for Windows users coming over to Linux. One other interesting thing is that they do have a Windows 11-like desktop layout, although this one's only available in their paid ZorinOS 16 Pro. Although I think my preferred layout is the Deepen layout, which already kind of looks like Windows 11. Yeah, I don't really care much for this sort of start menu in the middle. Kind of just seems off. But other than that, there's some interesting updates with fractional scaling, with better fingerprint support, the ability to easily join an Active Directory domain from the system installer, and just general performance improvements just with the later kernel and driver versions. And so my final thoughts on Zorin, it's one of my favorite distros. Even though I use PopOS as my daily driver, I was actually really wanting to use Zorin as my main driver just because out of the box, I feel like it has a much nicer look and feel. But one of my biggest criticisms of Zorin is that they take a long time to release their updates. And you know, in many ways it is worth the wait, but I feel like that's something that they could improve on. In addition to that, they could be more transparent and have better communication with what they're doing. You know, Elementary OS and PopOS do a good job of updating users on what they're working on. And ZorinOS, sometimes it feels like we don't hear much from them until an imminent release of their latest versions. So those are areas where they could improve. It's going to be interesting to see them with their Zorin grid to improve the standing of Linux in a work environment. That's really interesting. They're really leading that movement. So that's really cool. But let me know your thoughts. Do you agree or disagree with anything I've said? Will you use Zorin as your main distro? Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. If you're enjoying my content, you can subscribe to me on YouTube, PeerTube, follow me on Odyssey. You can also support me on LiberaPay, Patreon, and by shopping at Earth Hero. See links in the description below.